Hello everybody, I wanted to make this video because I found something quite interesting. From what I've seen over Reddit and over the Unreal Engine forum, some people, including me, were looking for a way to be able to get an editor utility widget like this, then to be able to select something on this editor utility widget, and then to be able to spawn something on the world based on what they have just previously selected. First, I wanted to do a drag and drop operation, but this is not really possible because if you can do a drag and drop operation inside an editor utility widget, you cannot do a drop operation inside the editor level viewport. There is no event graph, you cannot access it in Blueprint. But I found something else. Let me show you. This is the editor utility widget. I can click spawn sphere or spawn axis guide, whatever. And then I go to this drop down menu, and there is a new things called scriptable tools. And if I click on this, I have a script which allows me to spawn something. Like if I click on this, I can spawn sphere. And now if I click on the editor utility widget on spawn axis guide, I will spawn something else. So you can do things like this. So this is not a drag and drop operation. This is not as straightforward as I wanted it to be, but we are getting close. And I will show you how to do that. So this is a new project. First thing first, what I want to do is create first an actor, a random actor. I will call it BP actor. Inside, I will search for a static mesh. And this is what we are going to change. Then I will create a new variable called static mesh. Type static mesh. Might be instant editable and expose and spawn, whatever. And in the construction script, I will take the static mesh, set static mesh, and we will pass this information, the variable we have just created. Okay. Now I will create an editor utility widget to be able to select whatever static mesh we want to pass to this actor once it is spawned. So to do that, I will go to Editor Utilities, Editor Utility Widget, select. I will just take a button, a vertical box first, then a button, Editor Utility button. I will select text. Okay. I will write spawn sphere, for instance, and I will duplicate it. And here I will spawn axis guide, if I remember correctly. Okay. Compile and save. So now if we right click and run editor utility widget, we have the same spawn sphere and spawn axis guide. What I want to do also is to click on the first button and on click to create the event and click, and do the same for the other one. Editor utility button and click. Then I will create another variable which will be called static mesh. Type static mesh. And if I click on the first button, the static mesh will be a sphere. And if I click on the other one, so this is hard-coded, but it doesn't matter. This is the axis guide, sorry. And then we want to take a function which will be called get static mesh. A return node, and this function will return the static mesh which will have been selected if we click on the first button on the second button. So far so good. So now what we want to do is to be able to go to the editor and to be able to get the scriptable tools. So you can do that right now. You cannot do that right now. To do that, you need to go to Edit, Plugin. You need to tap Geometry Node, Geometry Script, sorry, and to enable this one, and then Tool Script, and you should enable this one, and then you can restart your project. Once you've done it, you should be able to right-click to go to Blueprint Class, All Classes, and you should be able to write and to look for Editor Scriptable Modular Behavior Tool. And you click on this one and you select it. So this will be Tool Script. Inside this one, inside this event graph, you need to override the onScript setup. Then right-click, add single click behavior. Then you take the second parameters if it by click, drag and drop, event dispatcher, create event, and then you can select, create matching function. You need to right-click on the click position to split it. Then from the first one, enter ray start end, trace line by channel, and you can start for the start point, the start, and end point, the end of the line trace by channel. You can also out of the out it result node, you can split it. Then you need to look for out it location, right click, promote to variable. And finally, in the return node, you can right click on the return value, split struct pin, and return value from the line trace by channel. You can drag and drop. Go back to the event graph, and you need to create another event for the on it by click. So event dispatcher, create event, create a matching function, and this one will spawn actor from class. The actor you want to spawn is the BP actor we have just created a moment ago. Okay, compile and save. And for the location, right-click on the spawn transformation, split structures, get the on-it location, and plug in it. And now we need to find a way to get the actor we have selected inside the Editor Utility Widget. Then you need to find a node called Editor Utility Subsystem, from which you can search find utility widget from Blueprint. You plug this one. In Blueprint, you can look for the editor utility we have just created. Just to be sure, you can cast to editor to the name of the new editor utility widget blueprint we have just created, and from which you can find the function get static mesh. Okay. And you can plug the static mesh into the spawn actor BP actor. And now it should be good. So if we right click on the editor utility widget, run editor utility widget, we go to the drop down menu, go to scriptable tools, we run the script by clicking on it. We can select spawn sphere and sphere spawn. And now if we click on the spawn axis guide, we'll get something else. So we are now able to pass information or data or value or variables from the editor utility widget to the scriptable tools, which allow us to spawn whatever we want. Thanks for watching the video.